So, here we are at Art Mob. Back 20 years ago, Euan Hills, being me, moved into this very patch of prime real estate here, 29 Hunter Street, the waterfront. Been over the other side of the waterfront for a couple of years, Castro Esplanade, but this is an ideal location. It's proven to be a real blessing not only to me but also to the artists who I represent. So welcome to a special day, 1st of July. Not only is it our 20th birthday here, it's also the coming of the light celebration for the Torres Strait Islanders up the very far north. So congratulations to them because they've formed a very important part of what we do here. Now to make this a birthday celebration, I've decided to put an exhibition together called 20 Years On, Keeping the Fire Burning. Now keeping the fire burning, or keep the fire burning, is the motto for this year's NAIDOC week. So it's keep the fire burning, black, loud and proud. So that of course starts on the 7th of July. It's only a week away. So that'll be incorporated into this exhibition. Now I've selected one piece of art from each of the 20 years that we've been operating here, from our extensive stock. And what I've selected, each work has some quite strong significance and being appropriate to be shown in a special exhibition like this. So we're going to go through a few of them, not all of them, but a few of them, see what you think. To start it off with is a piece from 2004 by a great Nunajara artist, a guy called Jimmy Donegan. And Jimmy Donegan lived around Papalunkada, Pipilajara, in the eastern part of the Gibson Desert. He was a great old man. Sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago. This is a classic work from 2004, so it's the first piece in the exhibition, and the very first one on the wall. And to me it shows a mapping of country where this is the Blackstone Range, this is a track through it, and you can see some water sites through here. He gives the story, but I give a better story because he shared that with me some time ago. Pretty special piece. Let's move on to a totally different area. Here we've got a work by a lady called Charmaine Poe, and you'll see there that clearly she's a descendant of her grandmother, Minnie Poe, and it shows similar imagery to what Minnie painted. Bushmelon ceremony, she's showing the sights out there in Utopia. A lovely piece. And we gave Charmaine her very first solo exhibition here in 2015, which really put her on a very strong career path. We feel very honoured to have had that connection with her. Looking down here, I've got a print portfolio. Now, the Dutch ambassador came to me one time when I was in Canberra and said, can you help me find a Tasmanian artist? I want an artist who can do printmaking, and I want to incorporate that as one of 10 pieces in a folio called Duifken. And Duifken is the name of the Dutch vessel that explored around Australia. There were 5 different sites where the Dutch landed in Australia. Tasmania, of course, was one of them. And I chose Alan Mansell as the representative artist, and this beautiful piece of work of his is an absolute classic print that he did at the Australian Print Workshops. There's actually 10 prints in this portfolio, limited edition of 50 only. This is number 50 of the 50 in the edition. Moving on, got a couple of lovely works from the Tiwi Islands. This group of sculptures at the front here were done by Pedro Wanam back in 2007. And I've sat actually at home on my kitchen bench for about 17 years. And they are very much an important part of the creation story of the Tiwi Islands. Bima, the lady, Tapara, the moon man, and the tall dark stranger, Puruku Kapali. These are truly beautiful pieces. I already missed them from my kitchen, but they're here for the exhibition. Maybe somebody will buy them. Behind is a classic work from the late Jean Baptista Puatimi. She became the #1 female artist there at Tiwi Islands for quite a number of years. And this shows Kulama ceremony, so the full moon, the rays of the full moon, that's the time of the year when the yams are ripe and suitable to eat. It's also the time when the young men go off for initiation and come back as men into society, and a huge feast is put on for them. But to know when to do that, the locals look at the full moon. If there's lines across it, it's the rain. It's not the right time. They wait till there's a halo around that moon, and when there's a halo and there's no rain lines, they know that's Kulama time. So those 3 days of the full moon set the scene for this very important ceremony. Jean Baptiste de Puatimi. Moving along to another bunch of islands, the Torres Strait Islands. And we've got here a Durry from George Nona. And this came from a special exhibition that he did with us, where he had incorporated pearl shell into the facial features of that Durry. You'll see seabird feathers, you'll see cassowary feathers, cowries, and golden pearl shell and pandanus fibre. That also marks the imagery of a water spout. Very interesting pieces of sculpture, and of course incorporated into the Torres Strait Islander flag. Another piece of sculpture. This piece here is a piece of glass with Dorothy Napangardi's design. And that comes from a project which I assisted with at Ebden with Bonegilla Glass. And there were a number of bigger pieces cast, or at least produced, with Dorothy's guidance. And then when the kiln blew up, 5 more of that 12 in the edition couldn't be done. So 12 of these Coolamans were produced. This is the second last one that I have available. But a lovely tribute to one of Australia's great artists, the late Dorothy Napangardi. And talking about great ladies, here we go. Here's a local beautiful piece by Lola Greo. Now Lola is the queen of the shell necklace making here in Tasmania. This piece here is a ceremonial length shell necklace made from green mariner shells. And the green mariner shells have now become very scarce. Climate change has warmed the oceans up, and the bull kelp that was once prolific is much lessened, so these snails don't have the right food source to feed on. Hence these shells here, there are not enough of them now for her to make another necklace like this. This is a very, very special necklace. Very proud to have this one in our collection. Thank you, Lola. Wonderful lady. This guy here is a discovery that I made back in 2004. A guy who painted with the tip of a toothpick. Now he paints with the tip of a wooden skewer. Cameron Ross. Born and bred in Alice Springs, now living in Port Augusta. We've given him a number of exhibitions. He was a finalist in a major exhibition in Brisbane last year, and this is an absolute classic piece of his. And you can see there's a red dot, meaning it's going off to a wonderful client in Melbourne. Thank you. Now, this one will get your eyes working. This is a Tingary painting by Wallampiri Chapel Jarry. Now, for those of you who know your history, 20th September 1984 marked the day when 9 Pintabee people walked out of the desert who had not had any contact with white people ever before, and made world history. Wallampiri was the leader of those 5 men and 4 women, and he went on to become one of the greatest artists this country's seen in recent years. This Tingary cycle work that he shows is quite enigmatic. He doesn't explain it. You have to make of it what you will. But to me, it's imagery that you see in the shimmer from the salt lakes, particularly Lake Mackay, or Wilkinkara, as he calls it. A truly great artist, this one. Moving further up the desert into the Tanami Desert, we have this piece here as a representative example of work by Stephen Juparula Nelson from Yuendamu. I call him the Van Gogh of the desert. We've given him 2 solo shows, and this is a beautiful piece of his showing the movement of the ancestral common brush-tailed possum man around that country, the Tanami Desert, stopping at places here and there, performing deeds, some heroic, some not so heroic, but a very beautiful classical work from a great artist of modern times. Now, this is a piece that came from a major solo exhibition we gave Helen McCarthy to Alan Woody, who lives in Darwin. Solo exhibition from 2019. And this is one of her styles of work. Totally different to anything else you'll see in the gallery, but a very beautiful, cleverly painted work. I'd love to give her another exhibition. It may happen. Now, let's head over towards the bottom of the Kimberley to Fitzroy Crossing. And you'll see here a piece done by the late Wakatu Ceri Surprise. Now, she was an old lady who lived there at the top of the Walmajarri area, knew her country incredibly well, and this to me is a really strong cultural expression of her knowledge of country. Waterholes, or Jola as she calls them, out there in the Sandhill country, where she grew up with her parents and the rest of her community. A very strong, gutsy or gestural work, and this one won't last here long, I know. She's one of my favourite artists. I have a big one of hers in my house down the road. Belongs to the gallery, but I'm enjoying it at the moment. And at the end of this wall is a big piece by, again, the late Pansy Napard. Now, Pansy grew up at Haas Bluff and then moved up to Papunya, western part of the Blackstone Ranges. Then later on moved into Alice Springs, where she was one of my few artists who I know who passed away with COVID, sadly. But this you'll see here is a superb rendition of dot painting where she uses multicolours in the dots, giving a lovely three-dimensional effect. She was there when the men started the dot painting movement back in 1971-72 at Papunya. She watched them working, and she and her friend Fabian Nabajimpa Peterson said, we can do that too. And both of them have gone on to become amazing dot painting artists. Pansy worked in her own right most of the time, and I had the wonderful opportunity of working with her from 2004 until her passing. She became a very, very close friend. We're now going to go outside and have a look at some other things. Here in the atrium, the IXL atrium, the back of the Henry Jones Art Hotel and opposite my gallery, is a fascinating work by Dorothy Nona from Bardo Island, Torres Strait Island. This is my 2018 selection, and I'm very, very proud of having a very close association with Dennis. It started in 2004, and it continues, and we're in touch with each other almost daily at the moment. This piece is a large lino cut print, larger than most lino cut prints you'll see from any other artist. But it shows what you do when you're needing food for a feast up there in the islands. You'll find rock holes, or at least rock fish traps. You'll see those depicted around the outside. As the tide comes in, it washes all sorts of sea creatures into that fish trap. And the locals get a particular plant called sarsi. They tie a rag around that and they squeeze it by tightening it up with a stick until that taproot of that plant oozes some milky drops which are dropped into the water. That knocks out the fish and they rise to the top. So here you see a multitude of different sea creatures upside down because they're basically dead. They're floating on that surface of that fish trap. It's big, it's brilliant. Limited edition of just 10. Yes, a fantastic piece. One of my clients said of him to the director of a major public gallery the other day that Dennis is the greatest Indigenous artist this country has ever had. The director corrected him and said, no, not Indigenous, greatest Australian artist that we've ever had. Okay, going to 2005, this is my selection from, again, an early year of the gallery. This is a piece that came from an exhibition for Cliff Reed, also from Blackstone, or Papalunkata, as it's now known. I saw Cliff's works in early 2004 and thought this guy showed amazing talent. And as it turned out, I gave him his first solo exhibition here in Hobart in November 2005. It talks about a wrong skin relationship. You've got the Crow Man here, you've got the Eagle Woman here, and it was an unhappy marriage. And skinship is something that binds all Australian Aboriginal people together. And there's laws about who you can marry and who you can't. This shows a wrong union. Cliff went on to have a number of exhibitions, not too many, but I was proud of giving his first. He came here with his wife Ruby and the art centre manager Diana Isgar. We keep in touch with Diana. Sadly, Cliff and Ruby have passed on. Now, another early work here is a work done by another great Pintabee artist, a guy called Pegleg Jampajimpa. And Pegleg was, you'll find him actually if you read the book The Lizard Eaters. And on page 55, you'll see a picture of a tall guy carrying a stick, a long pole, with a stump at his knee. That's Pegleg Jampajimpa. But to me, he's the connection to the dream time. This shows Tingari, so campsites of the Tingari ancestors as they move across the country. This would have taken him days and days to paint because he's a very slow old man, and this is a living embodiment of one of the great old men from the back end of the Great Sandy Desert, a Pintabee elder. And the last one I'm going to talk about, there are more in the show, but this is the last one I'm going to talk about. It's a piece from Tommy May. Now, Tommy May was a great old man from Fitzroy Crossing. And again, he's showing waterholes in that sandy country south of Fitzroy Crossing where he grew up, a place called Curtale. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I love his work. He visited Tasmania on a number of occasions, would always drop in and say g'day, and help me with my understanding of works from that region and further over into the Pilbara. So there we go. We're pretty proud of this exhibition. Come and enjoy it. Look at it on the website. Give us your comments. Tell us where we've gone wrong. Hopefully nowhere. But we're very proud of having been here for 20 years, and we'll drink to your health tonight. Thank you.